Forget about SMMA, Amazon FBA, or freelance brand scaling. We're not going to talk about any of those. We're talking about the top two business models to start right now: AI operating or starting an AI agency. And because I've done both in the last 4 years, I'm going to tell you which one's the best one to start to get you to your first $100,000 ASAP. And the reason why I can talk about both these business models is because I've been able to amass multiple six figures, not including PayPal. This is just my Stripe, with over 88% profit margins in both, which is a great business to have if you were to ask anybody. So as you can see here from our Stripe payments, we've had multiple builds within the AI agency side of things, and we've also had clients pay us multiple paychecks upwards of six figures from also doing AI operating. So let's dive over and show you which one is the best one to start with. Well, let's go with the AI agency. Well, here's the thing. The AI agency is something that you can sell one time or recurring, and these are going to be automation or AI automation builds. And you could go and search up multiple tutorials on YouTube of what specific automation builds you want to give to businesses, but I'll break it down a little bit more specifics here in a minute on how you can find the best ones that will essentially pay you more money and avoid all of the competition. All right. A few pros of going down the AI agency route is that there's a bigger market of people to reach out to because more and more people are going to start needing to use AI in their businesses. It's inevitable. They're either going to make the switch to using it or they're going to die out to the competition that is using it. So more and more people are going to need it. Like I said, there's a high demand, and you can build a moat if you understand value flows, which is what I was referring to about 45 seconds ago. I'll explain that in a second. The cons is that it's getting more and more commoditized. So as more and more people find out about AI and all of the tools and start selling it, basically it's going to be a race to the bottom based on price, and the markets are going to get more and more sophisticated, where more and more people are going to understand what AI does and how to implement it, where you need to stand out and make sure that you don't fall into that crowd. Also, there are tougher clients if they're too small. So if you're dealing with somebody that thinks that their small business paying you $1,000 a month is a ton of money to them, they're going to be a really tough client to work with. I've worked with these type of people. You want to aim for people that are making more money, so that way if you charge something like $3,000 or $5,000 a month, it's not that much money to them. They're much easier people to work with overall. And then lastly, the agency model gets pretty hard once you get past $30,000. At that point, you actually need to start bringing in legit talent and people that are going to help you sustain your agency long term. So I've experienced this for myself. It gets pretty tough after that 30K, around 50K per month mark, and yeah, it's a whole different ball game. All right. Now, basically, what you're solving for with an AI agency is either more revenue or efficiency within the business that you're helping, or you're trying to help them with better operations, so that way they can, I guess, still be more efficient. I guess that falls under the same category. And the best deal structure that I've seen work when using this business model is a setup fee plus retainer. So you charge something like 5K up front plus 2,500 per month to manage and operate the system on the back end. And there's different ways that you can structure it with guarantees and everything like that. I'll probably say that for another video. And that's what I've seen work the best. So this is the simplest breakdown that I can give you as to really what works with an AI agency. Now, I was going to explain what understanding the flows of value means. Now, this is how you stand out and build that moat that I talked about. And all a moat is the competitive advantage that you have as a business and how you can stand out from the competition offering something similar. So let's say that you understand a specific niche business the most. Let's say you understand a law firm and you understand where the flows of values are, whether it be generating leads, helping them onboard clients into their cases, whatever it may be. If you can get really, really good at identifying and solving a problem for that specific flow of value, like lead generation, like onboarding, then people will pay a premium price, and you can basically optimize how good that system is compared to everybody else in the market, especially as more AI gets developed. You can advance it and basically be the go-to person to install your AI system for that specific flow of value in that niche. That is essentially how you're going to be able to stand out and get more a bigger piece of the pie within that market and stand out from the competition who might be just selling AI automations or something like that. And that's where you can develop a really strong offer that more people are going to take notice of and not commoditize you with everybody else that might be selling something similar. So that way you don't get objections based on like, oh, this person's selling something similar for cheaper. They actually see you as an authority because you solve a specific problem and get a specific result in their niche, and they will view you as more premium, especially if you charge more premium prices. Next is the AI operator model. Now, this is where you're going to partner with creators to control the growth of the business. Okay, this is like people that are selling coaching or courses, and they're basically selling information online. All right, so the pros of this is that more control over the entire sales process is a big pro. You just have more hands-on control as to what's happening with sales and marketing, but you do need more skills. So I will go over that in a second. You will need to be more skilled and not just really be a brand new person in this game, because I feel like a lot of people online are getting the perception that you can just come in as this brand new person and just operate somebody else's front end of their business with zero skills. Don't do that. You'll need to start out in a specific position, and I'll show you where, okay? It is a growing industry in the online education space. I mean, selling information is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've even experienced this as when in the past, when I've reached out to creators that aren't selling something, they're still very much against selling information. They have that whole like, oh, I don't want to sell anything to my audience type BS mindset. And eventually they're going to turn and start selling something because they're going to realize that they're missing out on a ton of money when everybody else is going to start selling more information. If they have a big creator following or whatever, like if they have a huge audience, why wouldn't they monetize it more? Now, you really only need 2 to 3 solid clients to make a lot of money with this. If you structure the deal that I'm about to show you, you really don't need a ton of clients, which makes it a little bit easier than running an AI agency because you don't need as many clients, but it does become a little bit more complex because there are more skills needed and more moving parts, which I'll go over in a second. Okay, the cons here are that it's a little bit harder to sell to people in this space, especially if you go after coaching and consultants and creators, because they are more sophisticated. They get pitched a lot. And that's not to say that you aren't going to come across competition. You are 100% no matter what. It's how you stand out. But this market gets pitched all the time. People automatically go for them, and they are more sophisticated because they understand how AI is being implemented already. You have to come in and be super valuable if you are going to go after this market. And only some people are legit. So do your homework. There are people out there that are selling nothing, and they act like they're these big authorities in the space. I'm sure you've known people out there to scam other people. Try and avoid those people at all costs just to not damage your reputation if you're going to go down this path. Make sure that people are actually legit. They got real case studies. They got a solid group if they have group coaching and whatnot. So make sure that's all up to par. Just do your research, and then every 3 to 6 months, it's going to require some kind of change or new offer to stay ahead, specifically if you're with like a face a front-facing creator who puts their face out there. What's going to happen in the market is that the market's going to get fatigued of their face and eventually move on to the new shiny object who comes into the market. I'm sure you've seen this with people like Brez Scales, who came onto the market, blew up, and now there's going to be somebody who's going to now take over that position at some point as well and be like the new guy who's making money on the scene in their 20s or whatever. That's going to be the new person, okay? So with that, you need to understand that the market's going to shift, and if you're going to operate on these offers, you need to understand that, okay, we need to move either into a different industry, a different offer type, whatever, in order to keep attention and maintain that month-over-month growth that you're going to need to obviously show as an AI operator. So there are some pros and cons. Solving on this side, the problems that you're solving, you're really just optimizing for more revenue and efficiency, similar to an AI agency, but also you're going to need to have better systems and talent as you grow. Odds are you're going to be building out sales teams with this as well, and you got to have some good salespeople, which aren't always the easiest to find. So you want to make sure that the talent is really, really good. And the best deal structure, as I was alluding to earlier, is that you want to have a setup fee plus a revenue share, which is why you really only need maybe 2 or 3 big clients, because if you have, let's say, 20% of sales coming in, then and they're making 100 grand per month, well, you could be making 20K per month just off of having them on a revenue share deal. And if you have a few clients like that, you can be making 60 grand a month like nothing. All right, so I want to bring you through the natural progression. I've done this with both models, AI agency and AI operating, and it's really, really important, because I was mentioning it earlier, that when you do, let's say, go to AI operate for an offer, You don't just want to come in and start promising the world on how you can build sales teams and scale the back end, all this, and that, because realistically, if you're newer to the game, you're probably not going to have all those skills and the know-how to have a good understanding to at least get it up and running. What you want to start is with one skill or one problem that you can solve. This also applies to an AI agency where you're not trying to solve absolutely everything within under one go when you're reaching out to somebody. You're trying to solve one problem, and then once you get under the hood of the person's business, you can solve more problems along the way. Okay? Now, I recommend you start with a single skill, then upgrade to multiple skills, management skills, and leadership skills. Okay? This is the natural progression that I recommend. And once you get to management and leadership skills, business gets a little bit easier, gets a little bit more fun, and that's when things start to change. Okay? Now, my path, I would go from setting to closing, sales team management, ops and data tracking to like kind of like a COO type of person, or even maybe like a CMO. It depends how you slice it. But the actual path was I started in DM setting, I then got to call setting, I went to closing, I then started inputting a sales team and managing a sales team underneath me, and then I would build internal systems to make sure that everything was moving smoothly, tracking was looking good, data looked good, the sales process was efficient, VSLs, automations, follow-up reminder, all that stuff, right? Then I started building all that out. And then I would really just oversee the clients and just communicate with them, and then oversee the team and communicate with the team as well. And that was pretty much my operation. This is exactly how I'd have this installed. I'm still doing this as well because I'm still on the AI agency side, where we come in, we'll build a team, and then also manage the entire process for you. Same thing if we're doing growth operating, we'll build out the entire sales team, manage the whole sales team, process the offer, the VSL, the funnels, all that good stuff. And it's really just building your way there. Can you start from scratch and still deliver on this for a prospect? I'm sure you could, but to the level as to what they would expect the quality of work to be done probably wouldn't be that great because you don't have enough repetition. Now, it is important that you don't need to be the absolute best person in the world at closing, but you do need to have a solid understanding on the skills needed to then basically manage people and give them the feedback on how they can be better at it, right? At some point, you will replace yourself as a manager, and that's where your leadership skills come into play and managing a whole team. But ultimately, you need to start where you can get really good at something and almost work your way up in somebody else's offer. I've done this and it worked really well because I remember the first client that I ever did this for, I was able to make them an extra 53K per month in recurring revenue because I built out the system, I understood the whole thing, I put a team in place, I put tracking in place, automations, all that good stuff. And next thing you know, we started churning out some really good profit for them for a decently sized offer that wasn't really doing crazy numbers, but they ended up getting over 100 to 150K per month because of the system that I built for them. So this is what I'd recommend you to start thinking about if you are going to go with either business model, is to start with a singular skill or a singular problem that you can solve for and then go all in from there, because people are going to see the value of you as you naturally progress within their company of helping them get a specific outcome that they want, okay? Now, I always recommend when people go to start, let's say like an AI agency, I should put like a little note on this, is that people always want to go for automating a system of some sort, like automating onboarding. Well, that's great, and there's definitely businesses that need it, but I recommend if you want to fast track your way to 100K per month and just 100K doing AI in general, is that you start with the revenue side, because there is no cap to making more money, but there is a cap to operations and back-end systems, because in order to upgrade that, you need to make more money, and that only goes so far on the operations side if you're not making enough money. So start on the revenue side, solve problems that include booking sales calls, improving show rate, lead generation, closing, all that type of stuff, because you're going to get more people that will take you up on that offer because more people want to make more money. That's how the world goes round. So which one's better? Well, they both work. Just stick with one. One of the biggest mistakes that I made was jumping from AI operating, growth operating, to getting into AI automations. And if I just stuck with one, I probably would have made way more money, been seen as a way bigger authority. But that's what happens when you switch opportunities and you chase a new shiny object. I mean, I made it work in both areas, but the thing is again, when you focus on a singular lane, a singular vertical, you'll get even better results. Now, I don't regret changing it because, like I said, I got results in both and ultimately it gave me more skills. But if I was to recommend to you, just pick the one that you enjoy most. Is it the implementing builds for businesses and trying to retain them? Then great. Is it working with creators and wanting to scale information and implementing teams and managing more teams? Then great. That's up to you and where you feel like you're best suited at. But again, they both work. They will both make you a lot of money. Just focus on one and go all in. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'll see you in the next one.